Hi there, in this video I'm going to do a past exam question on algebraic division, the factor theorem and factorising a polynomial completely. So let's take a look at the question. Question number 3, part A. Use the factor theorem to show that x plus 4 is a factor of 2x cubed plus x squared minus 25x plus 12. So let's get back to the paper and pen. So here is the polynomial f of x, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 25x plus 12. And let me go through the steps with regards to the factor theorem. So here is step number 1. Step number 1 is to let f of x be your polynomial, and we take the linear term being given. So if we go back to the question, the linear term is x plus 4. Back to the paper and pen. So we take that linear term of x plus 4 and we equate it to 0 always. So we always equate it to 0. So if we rearrange, the x value is minus 4. Now this takes us to the last step, step number 2. So in step number 2, let's work out f of minus 4. So whatever x value you have in step number 1, work out f of that value. So we need f of minus 4. So to work out f of minus 4, straightforward, let's replace the x's here by minus 4's to give us 2 into x, which is minus 4 cubed, plus x replaced by minus 4 squared, minus 25 into x replaced by minus 4, plus the 12 at the end. Now, if you calculate this, if you insert this into your calculator, you are going to get an answer of 0. So f of minus 1 is equal to 0. And remember the factor theorem, so let me write down the factor theorem in red, if f of a is equal to 0, and indeed it's the case here, therefore x minus a is a factor of f of x. So that is the factor theorem. So let's apply it over here. So since f of minus 4 is equal to 0, so since f of minus 4 is equal to 0, that means that x minus minus 4, which is x plus 4, is a factor of f of x. So that completes part A to this question. Let's go back to the screenshot. So we have a part B. Part B is to factorise this polynomial completely. So we need to factorise 2x cubed plus x squared minus 25x plus 12. Let me show you how to factorise that completely. Back to the paper and pen. So we have the polynomial. So this polynomial is the same as f of x from part A. Let me show you how to factorise completely. Now I have made a video explaining the process, and I'll provide a link to the video showing you how to factorise completely a polynomial in the description below. But let me talk to you briefly about the method. So here is the method to factorise a polynomial completely. The idea is we need to take this polynomial and write it as a product of 3 factors. So since we have a cubic polynomial, we need to write it as a product of 3 factors. So that is the big idea. So here is step number 1 of the method. Step number 1 is to find a factor of f of x. Now we know a factor of f of x because in part A we showed that x plus 4 is a factor of this polynomial. So in step number 1, I'm going to use that factor. So the factor is x plus 4. Supposing in a question you don't know the factor, you don't know a factor of f of x. If you didn't know a factor of f of x, you need to use the factor theorem in order to get the factor of f of x. So in other words, you need to try values. So you try values, and if f of a value that you tried is equal to 0, that means that x minus the value that you tried is a factor of f of x. So back to this problem. So x plus 4 is the factor that we're using, and we're going to use that in step number 2. Now, step number 2 is you need to algebraically divide your polynomial by the factor. So we're going to algebraically divide. So let's arrange the calculation. So we're going to divide 2x cubed plus x squared minus 25x plus 12. So we're going to algebraically divide this polynomial by the factor x plus 4. Now, if you're unaware of the method of algebraic division, I have created a video explaining the method, and I'll provide a link to that video in the description below. Let me talk to you briefly about the method. Now, the way that I do algebraic division is that I write the letters DMS on the corner of my paper. DMS stands for D divide, M is multiply, and S is subtract. These are the order of operation. This is the order of operation when conducting algebraic division. So you start with D first, then M, then S. Now, D divide. D divide means you divide the first term of your dividend. So this term underneath your division sign is called the dividend. So you divide the first term of your dividend by the first term of the divisor. So this term x plus 4 is the divisor. So when you divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor, so let's have a look. 2x cubed divided by x is 2x squared. And whenever you divide, you write the outcome as part of this term, which is the quotient. So the term on top that you're forming is called the quotient of division. So let me repeat, let's recap. Divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor. 2x cubed divided by x is 2x squared. Write the outcome of division as part of your quotient. So that is what D is about, divide. Next operation is multiply. So multiply means multiply the term that you've got for the quotient, and you need to multiply that by the divisor in its entirety. So when I multiply 2x squared by x, 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. So write the outcome here on the bottom, and you write the outcome in the order of the powers. And 2x squared times plus 4 is plus 8x squared. So that is what you have. Let me put an underline over here. And the next step is subtract. So subtract means S. So let me show you what I mean by subtract. Subtract means you only reverse the signs of the bottom two terms. So this plus will reverse to minus. This plus reverses to minus also. So that when you add the terms 2x cubed minus 2x cubed, those terms cancel. Plus x squared minus 8x squared, that is minus 7x squared. Now, at this moment, it's ideally useful to have two terms. So ideally, you need two terms over here. So far, you've got one. To make it two terms, go to the next term above and copy it down. So since you have an x squared term here, the next term you need to bring down is x. So you need to bring the terms down in order. So let me copy down that minus 25x term down. And then we repeat the process. So back to division. So division means you divide the first term, and the first term here is minus 7x squared. So that's a power 2. So minus 7x squared divided by the first term of the divisor. So minus 7x squared divided by x is minus 7x. So remember, whenever you divide, put the outcome as part of your quotient. And what happens next? Multiply. So now we multiply the minus 7x by x plus 4. Minus 7x times x is minus 7x squared. Minus 7x times plus 4 is minus 28x. Now what is the next operation? Subtract. Subtract, remember, only reverse the signs of the bottom two terms. So this minus, let's reverse to plus. This minus, let's reverse to plus. When you add terms, minus 7x squared plus 7x squared, these terms will cancel. Minus 25x plus 28x is 3x. Now ideally you need two terms here, remember. Go to the next term above and copy it down. So copy down the plus 12. So what do you do once you have your two terms here? Go back to division. So let's divide. So let's divide the first term here, which is 3x, by the first term here, which is x. 3x divided by x is 3, so that will form part of your quotient. And next operation is multiply m. Let's multiply the 3 by x plus 4. 3 times x, let me squeeze it here, is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so actually, let's do this. So let me copy down the 3x plus the 12 here. And let's get ready to subtract. So remember, the next operation, as I said, is to subtract. And subtract means only reverse the bottom two signs. So this plus, let's reverse it to minus. This plus 2, let's reverse it to minus. And when you add the terms, 3x minus 3x is nothing. These terms cancel. 12 minus 12 is nothing. The remainder is 0. So this term at the end is your remainder. So the remainder is 0. Now think about it. The remainder upon division is going to be 0 because we're dividing by a factor. So remember the idea of this term factor. Factor means that the remainder upon division of x plus 4 is got to be 0. So whenever you see the words factor of or divisible by, so not divided by, divisible by, so if you see the words factor of or divisible by, these two words factor of and divisible by means that the remainder r is 0 upon division. So the remainder is 0, and it should always be the case when we apply this method to factorise completely, so we can be reassured that the calculation is correct. This takes us to the last step, step number 3. Now in the last step we're going to be using the answer for algebraic division here, and in the last step we need to use this relation. So the relation is that the dividend is always equal to the divisor multiplied by the quotient plus the remainder. So if you're unaware of this relation, please learn it. So this relation is quite useful. So the dividend, what is the dividend? It's this polynomial term. So let's copy that down. So the dividend is 2x cubed plus x squared minus 25x plus 12. That is equal to, how about the divisor? Divisor is x plus 4. So that is equal to x plus the 4 multiplied by the quotient, that being 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. Let's copy that down. 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 plus the remainder, which is 0. Now remember the idea of factorising completely. The idea is we need to write it as a product of 3 factors. So far I have 2 terms. So the next step and the last step is we need to factorise using quadratic factorisation this quadratic here. And if you were to factorise this quadratic, you might find that the factors for this will be 2x minus 1 and x minus 3. So that completes part B, and that sadly ends this video. So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, a like rating is very much appreciated. Do plenty of practice exercises, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.